Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for our weekly U.S. immigration video. Every week, I provide updates on what is happening in U.S. immigration. I thought without the change in presidents, or say with the change in presidents, it might become boring around here. And maybe I'd have nothing to talk about. But I'm happy to tell you that is not the case. I've mentioned before that the Trump administration had put in place over 400 immigration policies that the Biden administration needed to end and or reverse. Biden started doing that on his first day in office, and that continues today. Also, because the Biden administration is much more amenable to immigration, that is what the country was founded on, there are more people coming to the borders and applying for asylum than there has been in the past. That is one of the topics I'm going to talk about today. What is happening at our borders? I'm sure it's frustrating for those who are waiting outside the US and trying to go through the slow pace of immigration process. I wish I didn't have to do this, but whenever I talk about amnesty or people at the border, we get many angry comments about doing it right and not letting illegals in. Remember, asylum is a legal way to enter the US. America was founded on being a welcoming place for all, and we hope you keep your comments on our pages that way as well. For those who don't know me, my name is Mejer. I came to the US as a child with my family. We paid an immigration attorney to help us, but they ended up taking our money and not doing a darn thing. I was lucky enough to get a green card through President Ronald Reagan's amnesty program. That program was very different than anything being proposed today. I then put myself through law school so that I could help others navigate the immigration system. I enjoy helping my clients obtain the legal status they want, as well as helping you and others understand the complex US immigration system better. I wish we had a Staples Easy button, but since we don't, you got me. Learn from this or any of our other videos, please subscribe to our page and share the videos with friends and family. When they are shared, YouTube shows it to more people, and that allows us to help and educate more people. If you have a question you'd like me to answer, please post it below. I can't answer every question, but I do try. Sometimes it's best to contact our office to get individual attention. For example, if your question requires 1,000 words to explain, it might be helpful to give us a call rather than trying to post it all. Particularly if it's private and sensitive information, this is a public forum. We do appreciate your comments, your questions, your likes, your shares, and as we can, we'll answer any and all questions to the best of our ability. Okay, so you've probably heard about the issue at the border with the tens of thousands of people coming every day trying to get amnesty. There's also talk about a large number of unaccompanied minor children coming as well. I recently did an interview with a reporter about this, and I wanted to share some of my comments that I made to him with you. I know when we talk about border security, we get lots of comments on our channels, so people are concerned about this. Let me say again, coming to the US and seeking asylum is legal. There is a process people must go through, and most are trying to do this legally. Now, if they go and they try to avoid a port of entry and they're not applying for asylum, that's illegal, and there are consequences for that. The reporter asked me, when did the US begin a policy of harboring immigrant children? Which president or party championed it? Did we use to just send them home? So first, the US doesn't harbor unaccompanied minors. Historically, the US did not make a distinction between a minor or an adult. That means that children were treated like any other undocumented immigrant during the deportation process. Then in the 1980s, lawsuits were filed against INS, its Immigration and Naturalization Services, which came before the Department of Homeland Security. And they were arguing that children in custody were not being treated humanely. These lawsuits resulted in the 1993 Supreme Court case of Flores v. Reno, and the Supreme Court upheld the INS policies towards children. Then in 1997, the parties drafted the Flores Settlement Agreement under then President Clinton, which said that kids should not be confined and should be released from immigration as quickly as possible. Now, the Flores Settlement Agreement was between these nonprofits and the US government. In the early 2000s, investigations were published by nonprofit organizations like Amnesty International about the conditions of detained children in immigration custody. The Department of Homeland Security was created in 2003 in response to 9/11, which then created the Office of Refugee and Resettlement. In 2008, President George W. Bush signed the Trafficking Victims and Protection Act, TVPRA, into law, which had clear positive changes for how the U.S. treated unaccompanied minors. The protection of immigrant children was a bipartisan issue, meaning both Republicans and Democrats were focused on making it better for children prior to President Trump. Under the Trump administration, in September of 2018, the Department of Homeland Security issued a notice to amend the regulations of the apprehension, processing, care, custody, and release of undocumented juveniles and tried to terminate the Flores Settlement Agreement. Throughout 2018 and 2019, several decisions by U.S. District Court Judge Dolly M.G. made clear that the government was bound by the Flores Settlement Agreement and refused to allow the government to make changes to it without input by other agencies and other interested parties. In other words, since it was an agreement by two parties, one party can't just automatically change and do whatever the hell it wants. There needs to be an agreement by both parties. That's why it's called an agreement. So here's the process today. Whenever a child is stopped at the border, Immigration Customs Enforcement, ICE, or CBP, Customs and Border Patrol, determine if the child is unaccompanied. That means, are they coming with a parent? Are they a minor child? Who are they coming with? Are they alone or not? If the child is unaccompanied, she or he is held for up to 72 hours in a facility separate from adults. During that time, the agency is going to confirm the child's age and runs background checks. The child has his or her rights explained, and if the child does not withdraw their request for admission to the U.S., the child is transferred to the Office of Refugee and Resettlement, ORR. If a family member or suitable sponsor in the U.S. agrees to take custody of the child, ORR releases them while immigration court proceedings continue. Otherwise, they stay in the care of ORR, Office of Refugee and Resettlement. We know that on March 13, 2021, DHS leader Mejer sent FEMA to the border to help with the influx of immigrants, including unaccompanied minors. Mejer said that DHS is working to move the children from DHS to HHS, that's Health and Human Services custody, while their immigration applications processed. Mejer also said that as a result of the public health imperative, adults and accompanied children are subject to COVID-19 related travel restrictions and are returned to Mexico under the statutory authority of the CDC. We think and hope that the Biden administration's response to the migrant crisis, especially involving unaccompanied minors, will be kinder and more humane than the previous administrations. Unfortunately, many Republicans see this surge at the border as a way to attack President Biden rather than working together to fix the issue. I hope the positive changes are made and we can all work together for the good of the country rather than for an individual political party. As we find out more about what is happening at the border, we'll let you know. As always, we appreciate every person who watches, comments, likes, and shares our videos. If you need help with your immigration situation, call us. We won't take your money if we can't help you. Thanks for watching. Stay healthy. Be well.